In the month of February, Julius Randle missed a total of 13 games, and over that stretch, the Minnesota Timberwolves went 5-8, and they were looking like a team that could possibly slip out of the play-in tournament. But since Randle's been back in the lineup, Minnesota has won all 6 of their games. In this video, we're going to look at what exactly Randle brings to the table on both ends of the court, and how he's been impacting the game. Now offensively, Randle is a serious matchup problem, where physically he has this unique blend of strength and quickness. Standing at 6'8 and weighing around 250, Randle has the ability to abuse guards and wings on the block. Watch him here get low and put his shoulder into the defense's hip to move him back and create the scoring window. And Randle's style of play at times may appear pretty reckless. He'll often lose his balance and stumble his way into a finish, or bobble the ball while picking up into layups. But regardless, he always stays committed to his move and finds a way to score. And then along with the bully ball style of play on the block, Randle also has the handle to initiate drives on the perimeter, where off the dribble he's got both really good ball control and quickness. We'll see him here first receive this handoff from Jay McDaniels, and watch him first take one casual and relaxed dribble to then split his stance going between. Then from here, he goes right back to initiating contact and muscling up a finish.
Into the game on the offensive end.
And that quickness is sometimes enough by itself to create attacking angles. Watch him here just get to a hard rip through to his right, leaving the defense in the dust. That ball control and quickness also makes Randle a matchup nightmare against opposing team centers. If they try to sit back and bait him into long twos, Julius will first use that sticky handle to put together combos and get them off balance, to then initiate contact and carve out finishing angles. Notice when he rips to his left, how that forces Nikola Jokic to play upright and turn his hips to wall off his stride. But Randle from this spot can get low and move him off his spot to carve out a scoring window. I like this move here, where Randle gets Jokic skating back with his cross jab to then again attack his body and carve out a finish.
So the Wolves are at home. They're trying to win their 6th in a row.
When playing in isolation, Randle also has a pretty good mid-range game. His numbers this year haven't been super high, but these are still looks that he can create pretty much at will. When playing with his back to the basket, he typically likes to turn over his left shoulder, which makes it easier for him to get angled to the rim as he rises up. And because the defense is typically in a low stance trying to brace for contact, it's normally pretty easy for him to turn and find that open space. We'll see him here get to the same move from behind the 3, where he's going to rip to his left, initiate contact, to then spin over that left shoulder for a pull-up. And Randle can also create these in-between looks while facing up. He can pop jumpers off a jab step, or rip into aggressive one-dribble pull-ups. We'll see him here first attack hard to his left, and when the weak side defense slides over, Randle's going to pick up with his strong hand and get into another clean jumper. So again, from a one-on-one standpoint, Randle can be a real handful to deal with. He's got the strength to abuse smaller matchups, plus the ball skills and quickness to cook bigs out in open space. So whether he's playing a pick and roll or isolation, he tends to draw pretty heavy attention by the gap or weak side defense, which then opens up his playmaking. Now as a passer, I wouldn't say Randle has Nikola Jokic type of vision, but if he draws a crowd, he pretty much always makes the right play. Watch Mark Williams here slide up from the weak side on this double, and Randle automatically starts reading these two weak side defenders. And when they stay home, he has this easy dime to McDaniels underneath the basket. And because Minnesota has multiple guys who can both shoot and put it down, Randle doesn't always have to hand out shots to his teammate on a silver platter. Notice here how Bam Adebayo is shifted all the way over across the paint, and Randle can just snap the skip pass to Naz Reid, who now has a closeout to attack.
Reid pump fakes in the corner. Driving on Bam for the hook.
So a big part of Minnesota's half-court offense is simply finding mismatches for Randle, where he can either bully his way towards the basket or draw crowds and create kickouts. And they get Randle these matchups by primarily putting him in pick and roll, where he's got the build to both be the ball handler or screener. We'll see Naz Reid here come set this pick, and when the Heat decide to switch, it immediately turns into a quick isolation and spray out.
This is Conley, an open 3.
But now on this play, Randle is being used as the screener for Anthony Edwards. And when he gets the switch with the smaller Devin Vassell, it turns into another quick clear out from the play downhill. So unless Minnesota is going up against a really loaded defense like OKC or Boston, most teams are going to have a mismatch if they switch any of these ball screens, which generally forces them to play more traditional pick and roll coverages by either blitzing the ball or sitting back and drop. But the thing is, Randle has both the skill and physical tools to handle pretty much any type of action. First, with the ball, he's got enough pace to navigate off screens and dime up the roller. Plus, as a screener, Randle's got both the speed and physicality to do a ton of damage diving towards the basket. And Randle as a pick and roll man might be the most underrated part of his game. Again, he's got the speed to slip behind the first line of defense, plus the strength to finish through the backline defense. Watch how quickly here he's going to slip out of this pick. And Philly's backline defense from this spot has no chance of stopping him.
Randle.
And then along with Julius being an absolute battering ram, he's also got the ability to pop out behind the line and sink threes. And this is a good counter to have if teams really load up the paint. So when looking at all the things Julius brings to the table, from his isolation scoring, passing, providing offense as both the ball handler and screener in pick and roll, while having an answer for pretty much any type of coverage, I think that makes him one of the most well-rounded second options in the NBA. He may not be elite in one specific area, but his presence on the court gives Minnesota a ton of flexibility. Now, the one area where Julius has been struggling all season is going to be his spot-up shooting. Because Randle is sharing the court with Anthony Edwards, a big chunk of his half-court possessions are spent off the ball, and he's been getting a ton of catch-and-shoot threes. But so far this year, he's shooting under 33%. And I think this has really put a cap on his game over the past 4 years. Since his 3-point explosion in the 2021 season, Randle hasn't shot over 35% from behind the line. He will occasionally put together some hot stretches, but he hasn't been consistent for a sustained period of time.
Just had a baby a few weeks back. Congrats to them.
But despite him not being super consistent, he's still a more than capable shot maker, which is enough to command respect and provide floor spacing. And like we've seen, Randle can bring plenty of value off the ball as both a screener and cutter. Now, it's also important to note that Julius over his past 6 games has been an absolute monster on the offensive glass, where he's averaging over 3 offensive boards per game, which is the highest for any non-center across the league. And this is where I think Randle is low-key at his best, being an absolute dog and outworking the defense.
Randle offensive board, bucket.
So while Randle may not be a top-tier offensive player, he can still bring value in a multitude of ways. His physical tools and build makes him a really difficult one-on-one matchup. He's developed into a good overall passer, plus he has the tools to be a very effective screener and cutter. His outside shooting may be a limiting factor going forward, but I still think Randle is a good enough shooter to at least tread water. Now, when switching over and looking at Randle's defense, this is where I have some mixed feelings. First, from a physical standpoint, I think Julius has the build to be a switchable chess piece in the playoffs. He's got the foot speed to contain quicker guards on the perimeter, plus the strength to hold the zone against 4s and 5s down low. And he may be limited vertically, but he's got the stability and low center of gravity to hold his ground. But the issue with Randle is that his focus can be pretty inconsistent. There's times where he'll offer little to no resistance in isolation, while commonly falling asleep off the ball. Right here, he's guarding a non-shooter in the ball side corner, and instead of digging down and trying to at least affect the ball, he lets Jamal Murray get into a comfortable bank shot. I think going into the playoffs, Minnesota may try to play small, with both Randle and Naz Reid in the front court. Offensively, I think that lineup will for sure give every defense some problems. But the issue is that Randle's going to have to be their defensive anchor. Again, I think he's got the build to do it, but we've never seen him play defense at a high level for an extended period of time. So going forward, I think the Timberwolves' postseason success massively depends on the play of Julius Randle. I think his presence on the court takes this team to a totally different level. But if they're matched up against a team like OKC or the Lakers, I think Randle's defense will be the deciding factor. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments who the kids should break down next. The kids here.